our main monitors or hosts, I should say, are Skyla, the lead of the uOttawa, and Gregory, who is the member engagement lead for the uOttawa as well. So the first part of the cybersecurity workshop will be them explaining and going through some problem solving resolutions for you guys, and then we'll have one of CyberTalents representative, the cybersecurity tech lead Hamid, who's gonna answer all of your questions regarding cybersecurity in general. What is CyberTalents, what they can do for you, and also regarding the competition this weekend. So I hope that you'll enjoy, and if ever you have questions, feel free to type it in the chat, or I guess we don't have the raise the hand option here, but you can also take your mic off, and it's going to be a pleasure to help you guys in this journey. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Julianne. So hi, everybody. My name is Skyla, and I'm the DSC lead for uOttawa. And we have an exciting workshop for you guys today. It's going to be a bit of an interactive session. So if you have a laptop handy and you can just open a browser and get some websites going, we'll be putting some links in the chats for you guys to actually do the practice problems. And at the end, we have some breakout rooms so you can interact with each other and do some problem solving in a group. So let's get started. How many of you are familiar with what cybersecurity is or have an idea? Yeah, you can just answer in the chat. It would help us figure out how much we need to explain. If we need to start from the beginner, we can start a little bit more intermediate. Okay, so we have a couple of people who have experience before. It's great. Not too familiar? Okay, no worries. Okay, so we'll do a little bit of more of the beginner intro lesson, and then we'll talk a little bit about more intermediate concepts. But don't worry, if you don't have experience, you can still do the practice problems, and we'll walk you through exactly how to solve them. So let's start off with what cybersecurity is. So it's the practice of defending electronic devices and data against malicious attacks. So we are in a new age where everything is digital and we have a lot of sensitive information that's being stored on these devices. And we need to come up with ways to protect that information to make sure that people don't steal it, don't start selling it, or start breaking our systems. So cybersecurity is a way of protecting all our systems and all our data and sensitive information against different attacks. So we have a couple different categories here. So on the screen, you can see there's network security, application security, information security, operational security, disaster recovery, and end user education. So all of these things are branches of cybersecurity, and they all have one goal in mind, which is to protect electronic devices. So let's dive a little bit more into exactly what each of these kinds of branches do. So network security, it's the practice of protecting a computer network against intruders or different malware. So you're going to be learning about these terms a little bit more. Is everyone familiar with what a network is? Yep, okay, cool. So application security, it's exactly what it sounds like. If you have applications on your computer or on the web, that's the branch of cybersecurity that would protect those applications from being attacked. Information security protects data. So any systems that deal with data, such as databases or websites, it's the protection against data specifically. Operational security is the process of handling and protecting data assets. So it's protecting the process of how users interact with technology and protecting the whole gateway to accessing a certain application. So how do you protect that process? And disaster recovery is kind of your contingency plan. So if you, like, let's say you get attacked, what's your recovery plan? How are you going to come back from dealing with that attack? And end user security or end user education is how users are supposed to protect themselves, and different strategies you can use to protect yourselves against attacks. And we'll get into more specifics about that later. So now we have three main types of cyber threats. So we have cybercrime, which is when people commit a crime, usually for financial gain or just to disrupt the system and be annoying, or to take down an organization. So it can be done in a group, or it can be done with just a single person, but it is a criminal offense. The next one is a cyber attack. So those are more politically motivated. So different countries trying to access information from each other, or installing spyware on different things. That would be a cyber attack. And we have cyber terrorism. So those are attacks that are implemented or executed specifically to induce panic or fear. Do we have any questions so far? No. Has anyone experienced sort of a cyber attack or any one of these threats done to them? Nope, you stay safe. Nice. Yeah, so we'll talk a little bit more about how to stay safe and ensure that none of these attacks happen to you. Okay, and I'll hand it over to Greg to explain how malware works.
So yeah, there's actually many types of malware. Malware is just kind of an umbrella term for it. And one of the most popular type you've probably heard about is just a virus. A virus can be many things, but it's usually some sort of program that will self-replicate by either going into multiple directories on your PC or any type of computer, or it might replicate in the fact that it tries to spread to other users, to other networks. So next up would be a Trojan. So Trojans are similar to a virus, but the big difference is where the virus just tries to stay hidden, the Trojan, like the Trojan horse in Greek mythology, it presents itself as an actual legitimate application when it's really not. Spyware, it could be anything that goes from like a keylogger or to some sort of program that will take screenshots of your PC. Hence why it's called spyware, because it's able to tell what you are doing. Ransomware, this is just any threat you'll get where if you do not give them a certain amount of money, they're going to brick your computer by encrypting every single file on it. And it's usually done using a random and encryption method. And it adds a different extension to everything, like not just files, but also directories. Adware, are also called bloatware. This is one that probably everyone's came across. You might come across a website that's like this, but basically what happens with adware is instead of it being on a website, your computer itself or the application you're using will just flood it with ads. So those sites where you have to close all the ads all the time, you have to do that in the application you just downloaded, and potentially there could be ads just saved on your computer with who knows what going on in the background. And then one of the most popular recent types of attacks have been botnets. So what happens is attackers are trying to just put little programs, little pieces of code on as many computers as they can through maybe a sketchy link, or it's on the back of maybe a legitimate website, but accessing that website, you download this attacker's program. And it doesn't do anything immediately to your computer. You might not actually notice it, but what it can do is when the attacker later wants to attack a different network or do something to your computer, they can then later on give the program that instruction to. So common uses would be, say they want to do a DDoS attack on a different website, which we'll talk about DDoS later on. They can use your network to help actually attack. Or another popular one is they can secretly be using your PC to crypto mine. So that's all the type of attacks we have here. If we can go to the next slide.
Yeah, so there's another attack called Sql Injection. How many of you have taken a database course or have worked with SQL before? Yeah, okay, so we have some experience. A little bit, yeah. So SQL is a language that actually is used to code different databases and to access data. So one of the primary ways that people can actually attack your computer is by creating different SQL commands or SQL injections, and then inserting it into the website, or trying to access data but having like a hidden command within the SQL statement that sends data somewhere else. So they're used to control and steal data from databases, and they're like created and they're able to do it because there's vulnerabilities inside like a database structure. So something important if you go into cybersecurity at any firm, they're probably going to have to do a lot of work with protecting their SQL databases, as it is the primary way of storing information and data. So if you're interested in going into cybersecurity, learning SQL is going to be a big asset for you. Yeah, and I'll hand it over to Adam to explain cross-site scripting.
Hey everyone. So, as Kevin mentioned, we have, well, before I get into that, I would like to say that there are two kind of big attacks when it comes to the web. There's first of all SQL injection, like Skylar has mentioned, which is injecting a vulnerable and unauthorized data into your, or using, sorry, I messed up. So XSS is, or cross-site scripting, which is what I'm talking about right now, is injecting vulnerable and malicious data into your code. I actually have an example that I'd like to show you, where we'll be doing our own XSS attacks and actually injecting JavaScript code into the database. And we will see how injecting that code into the database and when we return it can actually cause some issues. The other one, as Skylar has mentioned, is SQL injection. I'm using MongoDB right now, so we'll be using non-SQL injection, but in the end, the kind of idea of it is the same. When we're doing a query in the database, when we're fetching data or we're putting data, we're modifying that query with our own type of code. We're injecting our own stuff into it. That's what it is. So before I get started on the demo, I would like to quickly give you guys access to the repository, just so you can go ahead, test it yourself, maybe even try to do it with me. I will post a link right here on the DGT. Just give me a second, please. I've been having a lot of internet issues this week, so it's been quite a delight. Anyways, right here. So feel free to just go ahead and download this link. Please note that you will need to have MongoDB installed. I'm currently running MongoDB on a Docker container to suffice that, and working quite fine. Let me just bring it up real quick.
Adam, do you want to share your screen?
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. I always do that. Share screen. Host disabled, participant sharing screen. Can you enable me real quick?
Yep, 1 second. Yep, you should be able to do it now.
Awesome. And just chat, share screen. Oh, this one. Hopefully I get the first one first. Yeah, awesome. So what I'm doing right here is I simply have a basic type of REST backend. Nothing too complex, nothing too crazy, right? It just has two routes, right? I have the ability to grab some posts, like these are, for example, just blogs or whatever. And I have access to my users, so I can go ahead, register, log in, and I even have an admin user right here. Just give me a second here. For some reason, my MongoDB server keeps crashing. Quick little on the fly diagnosing. What? All right. So I don't know why that's breaking. Oh my god, why is everything not working today? So That is an issue. Give me a second here. Hey, Skylar, mind skipping me for a second? Sorry. I am having some weird technical issues at the moment.
Yep, no worries.
Perfect. Thank you. Sorry about that, guys. I'll be back in like 5 minutes. Don't know what's going on.
Okay. Let me go back to it. Okay, can everyone see the PowerPoint again?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, awesome. So let's move on to the next type of attack, which is phishing.
So phishing attacks are very common. You probably got them in your email. They're usually types of spam. They make a very vague looking email. They try to look legit like an actual corporation. And it's usually related to banking information or maybe login information that they want from you. This could also be called social hacking, as they're not actually hacking your computer or attacking it. It's just asking for information from you, which your only defense is to be aware that, hey, this doesn't look valid. If you're ever unsure, don't answer it. The worst thing that can happen is if it's actually valid, they might come at you a little more heavy. If it's like your actual boss wants more information from you and you're not giving it over email, there's actually more secure ways to do it, or you can get clarification. If you just don't trust the email, don't trust it. That's the easiest way to defend against phishing. Can we go to the next slide?
Yep.
So a man-in-the-middle attack is interesting to say the least. So what happens is you could be communicating on your internet. This is actually a common thing that VPNs could guard against or help guard against. When you're on the network and you're communicating with, I don't know, let's say YouTube, and you want to watch a certain video of like some cute cats on the internet, someone could also be internet, like let's say you're at McDonald's, you're protected. Someone could also be at McDonald's and decide, oh, well, this person's looking at cute cats on the internet, but my video on my channel isn't getting enough views. And I want them to look at my cute cats on the internet. I mean, this is probably the least malicious example I can think of, but anyways, what they can do is they can choose to intercept your traffic request going to YouTube so that there's a link, so that the link or request you send will redirect you to their video, or more importantly, they could redirect you to one of their own sites if they want to steal information from you, or they want to honestly kind of take control of what you're doing, and it still seems the same to you. So this attack is a bit scarier compared to phishing, considering they're actually attacking you. And a lot of people just are unaware of how easy it is to actually do these types of attacks. There's open source tools you can just download on the internet on GitHub, of all places. You don't need to go to the dark net or use Tor or anything to have access to these types of tools in attacking devices. So the best way to actually defend yourself with this type of attack is to use a VPN, as it encrypts all your traffic and they can't get in or easily look at it to redirect it. If we move on to the next slide. So a denial of service attack can also be called a DDoS. And what happens is they basically try and overwhelm a network or website with traffic. And the basis behind this is when you connect to a website or a different computer, you have to do the TCP handshake. And TCP is a type of routing protocol for network traffic. And the fundamental of this handshake is your computer needs to say, hey, to the server, I would like to connect with you, which is called the request. Then the server has to acknowledge that you want a request, and it says, hey, you can access me. Lastly, your computer says, great, I got that you said I can access you, so now I'm going to currently access you. And basically there's 3 steps. Your computer requests, the server acknowledges, and then your computer actually connects. So that's 3 steps for just one computer. So now a DDoS attack would be having a large amount of those incoming requests all being processed, so much so that the server can't respond to them fast enough. And therefore, you can actually crash a website, which may allow the website to just not function, which would cause a bit of a commotion with people who want to access a critical website. Or it could allow the attacker to easily get access to that website while it is crashed. And that is the basis behind a DDoS attack. And like I mentioned earlier, botnets, if they infect your computer, they can use your computer so it looks like when the DDoS attack happens, your IP is one of the computers responsible.
Does anyone have any questions? I know that's been a lot of heavy content so far, so we can go back to slides or repeat certain things if someone's confused. All good? Okay, let's move on. So now we have something called end user protection. So this is a crucial aspect of cybersecurity. And this is the way that us as the users of these different types of technology can actually protect ourselves. So we have to rely on different protocols. So if you encrypt your emails, you encrypt your files, and you use this with cryptography. So that's one of the examples we'll have for you guys. We'll show you how cryptography actually works. You can install antivirus softwares on your system. So those softwares, they'll look for pieces of code on your computer which don't match normal signatures or normal behavior, and they'll quarantine them and then remove it from the computer. There's also different protocols which just keep monitoring your computer, and as soon as they notice behavior that doesn't make sense, they'll immediately try and quarantine it. And they work by looking at the different shapes of code. They look at the different data structures within these pieces of code. And if they don't make sense, then they'll flag it and quarantine it. Okay. Adam, are you good to go?
Yeah, I'm good to go. Thank you for that. Okay, perfect. So I was having some issues with Docker. Don't know why. Sometimes it just decides not to work. But anyways, I will show you what is currently going on. Where is my screen to share? This one. There we go. I just have 50 tabs open. So right here, we have a simple database. And I have two users in here. So I have a administrator user, and his username is just admin, right? First of all, that's unsafe. Never do that. And over here, we have a hash password. The reason it's hashed is for, yet again, extra security. I'm not going to get into the way hash passwords work, but this is one way of storing your passwords in a database. We have the same thing here for another user just called user. And if I reload, I have one more database called posts. And I'll show you how that works on the front end, where I'm just able to just grab posts and display them. But basically what's going on here, I have a title, I have a description, that's it. So where does this get interesting? So we're going to perform a quick SQL injection attack. So I'm going to have to share screens again, sadly, because I'm not able just to share one of my screens to share a window. There it is. New share. And where is she? This one. Beautiful. Okay. So I have one route I already took care of. This is just registering users. You don't need to worry about this. But the second one is logging in. So right here, I'm able to click login, and I can receive the token of my user. So this token is used to identify me on the server. So whenever I go ahead and I pass this back, then the server knows that this is me, right? And let's say I do, I find out that the username is admin and I want to get into it, right? So obviously, I can go ahead, try it over and over and over, and I'll never get it. Or what I can do is I can use a bit of SQL injection. So if I remove this right here and I do username is greater than nothing, let's see what this returns me. I click send and it breaks. Hold on, I had it saved here. Yeah, that one. It's $, greater than, my bad. If I click this and I remove this, then it will return to me the admin user. So right there, I was able to perform my own non-SQL injection attack. I'll show you how it works in a second. And using that, I was able to retrieve a completely different user, right? So now I have full-on admin access. So what else can I do with this? So if a database or if a server does not have non-SQL injection blocking, it probably also has some vulnerabilities in XSS. So let's say I want to create a post, right? So right here, I can do, this is my test post 2, right? I do it and I create it. But maybe I want to be a bit more malicious. So what I can do is right here, I can inject my own JavaScript, right? So over here, I'm injecting a script called my function, which right when it loads will alert the user. So if I send that, I can see that it works no problem. Well, how does it look like? So let me quickly share my other screen. Give me a second here. I just have 50 of them. This one I'm pretty sure. Yep. So right now I haven't reloaded it yet, and I have my first kind of post right here. So it just goes ahead and it grabs data from my database. No problem. If I reload it now, great. Why doesn't this work? Oh. What's going on here? Huh. That is strange. Oh, I think it's the same thing. Hold on, give me a second. Sorry. Well then, I might have installed XSS blocking right off the bat, but sorry about that. What was supposed to happen was that it returns me an alert saying, hey, I'm an alert box. Why did that not work? I am not sure, and I apologize. But yeah, now I'll kind of dive into it, how everything was supposed to work and how to avoid it. So we still have 2 issues, right? The first one being that I'm able to just run non-SQL injections. And the second one being that I'm able to inject my own JavaScript code. So what is going on here? So if I go ahead and I view my users, I'm going to share a new screen again. This one. Nope. New share. This one. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So what I just did to retrieve the administrator username was I did greater than nothing. What does that do? Nothing. Let me just yeah, that's why. Why is everything breaking on me today? Today's not a good day. Oh no. Oh Lord. Anyways, so the SQL injection I just entered, basically what it does is the following. Oh no, sorry, my bad. It's greater than username. There you go. I'm pretty sure that's it. Yeah. But what I did right here was that I injected my own non-SQL code that basically said, hey, return me every single username that is greater than nothing, right? But because every single username has something inside it, no matter what, it will always return a string. In this case, because admin is the first string, I was able to retrieve the administrator password. The next one right here we have is that we injected our own JavaScript code, right? So what is the easiest way to avoid non-SQL injection and having your own having other people inject JavaScript code into your database? So what you can do is you can honestly just install two packages. So in this example, I'll be using Node, and I'll show you how to avoid these type of attacks. So if I go ahead and I share my VS Code screen again, where is it? It is right here. And all I do is I come over here and I restart the application. So we're going to install two scripts, or two kind of packages. The first one being Mongo, actually let's do XSS for Node.js. So yet again, this package is just called XSS. So if you just search it up, you'll see it has 1.2 million downloads a week. So it is extremely, extremely popular. And all we got to do is yarn. So I'm using yarn. If we use npm, you can just do npm I XSS. So using this package, it'll completely stop us from having these issues. So let me just quickly do something here. Sorry. So we're going to need actually one more package called Xss Clean. And using that package, we're able to just go ahead here. Oh, I guess it just comes with XSS anyways. And add this following command. app.use XSS. So what this does is anytime traffic goes through the server, it will hit this kind of plugin, kind of module, and just clean it up of any type of JavaScript. Next one we want to use is called Mongo Sanitize. Mongo Sanitize does exactly the same thing. So if you do yarn add express Mongo Sanitize, where did I type wrong? Express is two S's. Geez, I cannot type today. Sanitize. Finally, geez. And now we're able to just go ahead and import it right here. And same thing as last time. If I go to app.use Mongo Sanitize, now it's going to completely block us from having any of these issues. So let me just do node app.js again to just bring up the server. Where did it go wrong? That's why. Oh, whoops. Okay, there you go. So now if I return back to my Postman, I will be able to redo those queries. But this time I should get an error every time I try to do so. Just let me find it. How do you always disappear? This one. Oh, that's far back. So remember last time we used this following command to retrieve the admin token. Now if I run this, still works. Let's try this one though, please. What is going on? What? That's great. Yeah. Wow. That blew my mind. Sorry about that, guys. Anyways, this is how you're supposed to kind of stop these own non-SQL and non-SQL injections. So for some reason, I was able to bypass these and code it myself. That's probably just an error on my end. But I hope this guy gives you still an idea of what is supposed to happen and how you can avoid these type of issues. So if you're ever building your own type of Node.js server, you just learn two packages that you can use to avoid this issue. So that's it on my end. I'll bring it back to Skyla.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam.
Oops.
I'll pass it over to Julien. So before we start getting into our breakout rooms and start actually practicing these problems ourselves, we do have a special guest for you guys that Julien is going to introduce, and you can ask all the questions you have about a career path in cybersecurity and a little bit more about our competition that's happening this weekend.
Thank you, Scarlett, and thank you, Adam. As you have probably seen, cybersecurity is highly complex. So we're very, very glad to have Hamid Nozir, if I can, if I say it right. He's the tech lead, the cybersecurity tech lead of CyberTalents, and he's here with us. He has been here since the beginning of the session. So I don't know, Ahmed, if you want to start by saying a little bit of comments, jumping off some topics that we tackled today. And if ever some people have questions, then it can run smoothly that way.
Hi, thank you, Skyla and Julian. Thank you very much for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Ahmed Nusir. I am a tech lead of CyberTalents. First, I want to appreciate all the support from Ottawa DSC and the collaboration for providing our platform for practicing for everybody. Again, in CyberTalents, we are offering a cloud platform to evaluate the skills of cybersecurity professionals worldwide by organizing CTF or captures of flag competition. This is a platform online, and now I will show you a demo about the website and how to use it and how to find the competition and the challenges. But before going to this part, I'm really waiting anyone have a specific questions about the CTF or captures of flag competition, because like I can see some of you already participate in this event and the rest don't have this experience, and I hope you will enjoy this experience later on. So if anyone have any question, you can feel free anytime to put in the chat. Also, if you don't mind, Skyla, I can share my own screen.
Yeah, I think you should have permissions to be able to do that.
Yes, okay.
Before you start, I
Yeah.
think we have a question in the chat. So, how should I prepare for the CTF if I am a beginner?
Yes, great. Okay, for captures of flag competition, actually this type of competition having a lot of options, or let's say a lot of topics. Let's say if you are interested in a specific topic like web security, so you need to have a lot of information before proceeding to this part. For example, you need to be aware about the web application development. For example, how to code in HTML, JavaScript, how to use a specific platform for building a website. Not to be a very professional in this part, but at least to know the basics, because later on you will deal with some exploits or some vulnerabilities related of the website, like the one used by Adam, if the name is right. Adam show us some exploits or vulnerability related to SQL injection and XSS for sure. So before dealing with this type of attacks, you need to be aware about the platform or how the web technology work. This is for the web security. Also, there is a lot of categories related for the CTF, maybe digital forensics. In digital forensics, you need to find some traces of the attack. This is always happen after having gaining access of specific system or server. You need to identify who attacks the system, who exploit the system. Also in reverse engineering, today we talk already about the reverse engineering, or not reverse engineering, but the malware or viruses. So to analyze these types of files or executable, you need to know also some programming skills and how the operating system is work. Different operating system like Windows operating system or Linux or maybe Android or iOS. So later on, you need to understand also some low-level language like assembly language to analyze this type of viruses and understand the behavior and what happened in the background of your operating system. So this is just a summary, but you need to focus what type or what is the area you are targeting what is your entry level in the cybersecurity field. So is it clear at the moment? If you have more question before showing the platform.
We have another question actually, but I guess that you'll tackle into this a bit later. But the next question would be, do I need to pre-install some platforms in order to do the competition?
Yeah, for sure. For participating in the competition, you need to have your own tool set. So you need to install a lot of tools related to web security or maybe different option. So I recommend Kali Linux. I know most of you know the name of this operating system. It's Kali Linux is a specialized operating system built over Linux and having a pre-installed security tools and also forensics tool as well. So no need to waste your time in installing or finding online tools to test an application or finding a bugs inside application. You will find almost most of the tools there in this operating system. And I can share after the showing the platform also the link of Kali Linux and where you can download this one. Okay, so back to the platform. This is the main interface of CyberTalents platform. And this is the main page. It's suitable for talents and company and academies. So you can enroll as a company or as students maybe. Okay, once you have a valid account from the registration, you can move to the login page. And from here, let's go to the main page again. Okay, and on the top here, you will find a mini section. The first one is the practice section. Before going to any competition, you need to do a lot of practicing. And like I mentioned, maybe you're interested for a specific area, or maybe you need to explore all the topics of captures of flag competition. Here we have a web security and malware, reverse engineering, cryptography, digital forensics, network security, a lot of topics here. So you can select the topic you are interested in and just click over the category. For example, let's go for the web security. We have like 44 challenges. All these challenges is publicly available and free. Once you have an account, you can go for the website and try to practice any of these challenges. And on the right side, also, you can filter by level. For example, you can find here the basic, which is very, very easy to get started in this area. Also easy, medium, hard, and advanced. So also I highly recommend again to start, if you are a beginner, you can select the basic level or the easy level in any category and just try to install some software and find how you can solve the challenge. For solving that challenge, first of all, you need to try by yourself. If you stuck, Google is your best friend, as all of you know. Then there is something called a write-up. And this write-up, which is a step-by-step guide, how to solve the challenge. So not only for CyberTalent, but I mean for any captures of flag competition, there is one website having the database for all the CTF competition and also having a lot of write-up, which is will help you to find the answer and how to solve this stuff. This website is called CTF Time, ctftime.org. It's like a directory for all captures of flag competition. And from here, you can check what is the upcoming events. And also you can go for archive to check the past competition. Also, you can find here the write-up. Once you go to the right tab, you can filter based on the topic you are interested in. For example, now you heard from Adam some information about SQL injection, and you read a lot of articles about SQL injection, and you need to do it by yourself. So you can go here and just search by SQL, and filter. And here you will find all the old challenges related to these topics. And from here, you can go and read all the guidelines or all the documentation of the solution. And from here, you will get the knowledge about what kind of tools you can use, what kind of platform or Linux operating system background, or maybe Windows Windows operating system background to be know about this area. So this is about the information. If you are stuck, if you are a beginner and you need to read a lot of documentation about how to solve the challenge. Back again to the platform. This is the practice section. As we told, it's available 24/7. You can go here and practice any challenge. Once you prepared for any competition, we are organizing captures of flag competition on the weekly basis. You can go for the compete. For example, this is all the upcoming for the next week. Later on, you will find a lot of competition. Some of them having restriction, like the one listed here. For example, we have one only for ladies. It's tomorrow. And also we have some events limited by country, like India, Canada, Germany, Netherlands. But the next month, you will find a lot of competition here, maybe without any restriction or to the age or to the gender or anything. So you can feel free to go and register for this competition and start practicing yourself. And also you can monitor the scoreboard anytime of this competition. And also you can go here for the rank, because like I told you before, once you solve any challenge in the public section, you will get some points based on the difficulty. So you can go for the rank. This is a world rank. For example, here you will find all the player on the platform, and here is the point associated with each player. So of course, as a beginning, you will get some points, but later on you can increase your level to be more. And also you can, if you are interested to join some jobs, the platform is offering some jobs related to different areas as well. And maybe you notice some of them is having some requirement, like specific points on the platform of CyberTalents. And this is a good option for the recruiter or companies to make sure this is the right guy or the right lady for the position. So this is just a basic information how to browse the website, how to find the practice area, how to find the competition area if you want to participate in any competition in the future. I think there is one question here unrelated to event. Okay, for the market right now, let's say the market right now is not stable for all the in all the field, not only the cybersecurity, but cybersecurity field is always the, let's say, the golden market, because always we have a lack in this area. They're always looking for the professional people, and the technology every day, maybe now every day, is highly changed, and there is new technologies, new, even for the hackers, they have a lot of techniques, new techniques. You have to be aware about these techniques. So also for yourself, you need to be fully updated to keep challenging in this market. So it's based on you, not based on the market, actually, if you are agree with me. So I'm still available if you have any technical or non-technical for the competitions or captures of like competition in general, because I'm talking in general, not only for CyberTalents platform, but this is a very interesting area if you need to gain more knowledge, if you are willing to shift your career from area to area. For example, if you are system administrator and you need to move to another field like malware analysis as a malware analyst, for example. So it's a good opportunity to gain a lot of knowledge about reverse engineering and the malware analysis as well. And maybe you are a developer and you need to secure your code, and the best option always to secure your code is to know how to hack, how the hacker attacking your system, like you see in today's demonstration. Just changing a small piece of code or a small piece of query maybe damage your website, and of course will damage the reputation of your organization.
Thank you so much, Ahmed, for your time. Oh, hi. There's another question.
Sure.
I'm a full stack web and mobile developer, and I want to go into pen testing and hacking. How should I approach it?
Actually, the approach, like I mentioned, you need to pretend like the bad guys, which is you need to understand all the technique, what they can do and how they can affect the system. What I mean by system, maybe the mobile device, or maybe the operating system, or maybe a complete network. So you need to understand, if you are in the red team, you need to understand how they can defend the system in order to attack the system. If you are on the other side, on the blue team, you need to understand what the bad guys can do. So you need to read a lot of information from here and there to understand a lot of techniques. So you are a full stack. So I know you are aware about how to code, but maybe you don't have the, let's say, all the facilities of how to secure the code, or maybe if there is a lot of update related to the code, maybe you are using a C or Python or whatever the language you have. So there is a lot of vulnerability exposed every day related to this programming language.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ahmed, for answering all the questions. And we have a couple minutes left, but we do have some breakout room activities. So feel free to leave the meeting or the workshop if ever you have a class or something like that. And for those who want to stay, Skyla and Greg will keep following along with some interactive activities and breakout rooms.
Awesome. Thank you, Ahmed and Julien. That was a really great introduction to the CTF competitions. And now we're actually going to be doing some practice problems from the site that Ahmed showed us. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a little mini decryption activity. So this is labeled as a basic problem in the practice set. So you can see how this competition, if you aren't very familiar with coding or you don't come from an extremely technical background, there's always challenges that you can participate in and try out. So I'm going to put the link into the chat, and let's try solving it ourselves first. And then I'll give you guys maybe 5-10 minutes to try and do the challenge and crack that password that you see on the screen. And we'll meet back here and discuss how you guys are able to do it. And then I'll show you a short demo of how you would go about solving this problem if you weren't able to solve it. So click on that link there, follow the instructions over here, and we'll meet back here maybe 12:35 and talk about what you guys solved. And if you do get a password or you think it is, just put it in the chat and then we can verify if it was correct or not.
So on my end, I'm currently on my lunch break, so I'm gonna need to head back to work. But I really hope that you guys had a fun time for our workshop, and hopefully you can be inspired and ready for doing the Canada Hacking Weekend competition this weekend. So it's not too late. You can still register, and if you have any questions or event suggestions, please feel free to reach out by email on our Discord, and we'll stay in touch. So thank you everyone, and good luck for the resolution with Skyline Greg, and thank you Ahmed as well.
See you, Julian, and thank you for coming out and supporting us.
Do we need to make an account to be able to participate in the challenge?
To participate in the challenge, you do need to make an account, but if you want to just do the practice problems, the ones that we've chosen for this workshop, you can just do it without actually signing in. But if you do want to participate and get points and get noticed by recruiters, yes, you do need to make an account. Okay, and we have our first person who came up with the answer to what they think the hash is. So maybe a couple more minutes, and let's see if other people get it as well. Okay, so just for the interest of time, I'm going to cut it a little bit short. So we have our first person who came up with the solution. Do you want to quickly maybe write in the chat, or you can turn your microphone on and explain to everybody how you were able to solve this challenge? Awesome, thank you.
Hello, so is my voice clear?
Yep, you're all good.
Yeah, so it's a kind of hash of some type of encryption algorithm. So I copied the hash code and put it on internet online hash analyzers. And then I got to know about the hash and password easily.
Awesome. Yeah, so exactly what Raj says. So you're going, so some of the ways you can solve this kind of problem is, you see here that we have a hash. If you've worked with cryptography before, then you can just, I see it and know immediately that it's an MD5 hash just based on the structure of it. But if you're brand new, you have no idea what this hash looks like. Just Google a hash analyzer. So I've got mine right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste my hash into the analyzer, and it's going to tell me that it's an MD5 right there. So now I know that I need to find an online tool, or maybe if you're using Kali Linux, there's a built-in tool that will just let you decrypt that hash. So I've got my hash decryptor right here. And when I press decrypt, we wait for the results to come up. Yep, and sometimes it takes a while. And there we go. We have our flag that says, I am the flag right there. So that's how we solved the first one. Does anyone have any questions about that? Okay, then let's move on.
So I'm going to show one of the basic reverse engineering practice challenges. And you can, you might be able to do this with me, or feel free to just watch. I'm going to be using a Unix terminal with a Python script to do the challenge. I'm actually going to request to share the screen because I have this ready on my on an alternate PC. So let me share screen. And share that. Okay. So it is the first malware reverse engineering challenge, or one of the easiest ones, called Getting Started. Just want to make sure you can see my screen. Okay, perfect. So when you do the challenge, you're going to get this file. It is a binary file called Getting Started. And I'm on a Windows computer, so I said I was using a Unix terminal. And that's sort of true, as in I'm going to be using Cygwin to actually analyze the file. It is a Linux-based terminal that you can use on Windows to get the Linux experience, even though it's not a Linux operating system. But before I do that, just analyzing the file with something like, I'm going to use Atom or Notepad. Atom is a text editor. Just give it a while to open. You can see that the executable file is very much gibberish, lots of unknown characters. There is some text coming in from the file and the data you can get from it. But opening up in a text editor, you just get this long horizontal strip, and it's kind of hard to analyze what any of the text in it actually is saying. So this is why I wanted to use a Linux terminal, because the Linux terminals actually have a command called strings. And basically what it does is it will analyze the file you give it so that it can look at any of the strings it finds inside, and it prints them out nice and pretty for you to analyze. So I'm just going to go ahead and make my way to the file with the Cygwin users. My file is located on my desktop. And here, actually, I'll make this bigger for you guys, or I guess I want to affect the text size, but it will let us look at more of the answers. So actually, if you guys could tell me if you want me to zoom in, because like when I'm looking at it, it looks kind of small. That's much bigger. That's much bigger. Okay, cool. So going ahead, the command you're going to use, and again, it's a Linux-based command. So if you use this with the Windows terminal or command prompt, you can have access to the command, but you'll have to download it off the internet. So Cygwin, it's built in and it's on Linux terminals. So that's why I'm just using Cygwin. But the file, again, it was called Getting Started, and I am in the directory that it's stored, my desktop. I'm gonna spell that right. When you use that command, it goes through the whole file. So for us, it's an executable, and any string it got, like any readable characters, it went ahead and printed them line by line. Now, analyzing all of these, you can see some of them are actually quite readable. .text, row data, dynamic, and there's nothing too hard to interpret here. So the thing that sticks out to me when looking through them all, because they're all quite readable, is right here we have this string of text, which just seems to be obfuscated, which is a very common technique people will do when making malware or any type of malicious activity that they don't want you to look at. They'll obfuscate the code, which just means they're going to make it messy. They're going to make it hard to read. So this string sticks out to me. It looks like they've just added a lot of random J's into it. So maybe if we clean up this string, we'll be able to find out a bit more information. So this is where the Python script comes in. The Python string commands has a lot of different, I guess, protocols or methods you can use to modify strings. So here I have idle. I'm also going to, if I can format this better. It would be very nice if I could just expand the text. You know what? I'll just put it into Atom. Because here I can control the font size. Oh, Control Shift equals. All right. So here I've already done the script before because I've solved it previously. But if we just go back in, I'm going to copy and paste the string I want to modify. And I'm just going to store it as a variable in Python. So here it is. The first thing I do is I save it as another variable, splitting all the J's away from it. So if I actually just, I'm going to comment all these future lines out so you can just see what happens in real time. And then I'll paste it into Atom so you can see the output. Ooh, I might be a little bit too zoomed in there. So hopefully you guys can read that without too much problems, but now we can see without the J's there, it definitely looks like there's a message in there. And we can already sort of see it if you want to analyze it more, but I can read FLAG, so that's flag. And then there's a curly bracket, an open one. It looks like the word welcome. So I can already tell that there's a message inside of that. However, it's still a little hard to read. And you probably want to clean it up a bit more. So going back to the actual code, so here is what we have done up to. I then make a second variable with nothing in it, and I go through my first variable, basically just appending each character in decode to decode 2. So basically when I print it, instead of getting this mess where every character is treated as a index in a list, it's just going to print it nice and well together. So I'll go ahead and uncomment these out so you can see what it looks like. So going ahead and again pasting it in Atom. All right, it's much cleaner now, but there's still one more step. We want to actually reverse all the characters because we can tell it is written backwards. So that's what my last line of the program does, is it just takes any text or string you put in, and it's going to reorient it so that it goes from back to front instead of front to back. So of course, I'm going to run this last module, and there we go. We get the flag. I'll put it back in Atom so you can read it. But here we go. We have the flag, welcome to level 1. And so basically the flag is the stuff inside the curly brackets, and there you go. You have successfully solved the first reverse engineering challenge. Do you have any questions about that? If we don't have any questions, I believe we have one more demo, the breakout room to go through, and I'll let you talk